Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on. And as it is the 14th of June, we are going to be watching The Sand Pebbles from 1966, directed by Robert Wise and starring Stephen McQueen. So this is one of those movies where I know of the title. I understand it is a war-era movie and it stars Steve McQueen, but as far as that, I really had no idea what this movie really entitled. Again, seeing it on several lists of war movies, and other than that, knew nothing about it until this obviously being my first watch. And as I previously mentioned, not only does this movie star Steve McQueen, but it also stars Richard Attenborough, Richard Crenna, Candice Bergen, Emmanuel Arsan, Mako, Joe Turkel, and Gavin McLeod. In 1926, the U.S. San Pablo patrols the Yangtze River between the clash between Chiang Kai-shek's communists and the Chinese warlords. When the 8-year veteran machinist Jake Holman, played by Steve McQueen, who is new to the self-named Pebbles crew, immediately draws deep suspicion due to his independent streak. In order to protect the Americans, including schoolteacher Shirley Eckhart, played by Candice Bergen, Jake and the gunboat crew are unwittingly drawn into a bitter nationalistic feud that holds grim consequences. So to begin with, well, again, knowing this was a wartime movie, I really wasn't sure of the conflict that had actually happened. And obviously, as we're dealing with the 1926 storyline, it definitely depicts of what's going on. This movie is something that I never really expected from a 3-hour plus film from 1966. It is a Steve McQueen-led movie. I expected more of a Steve McQueen sort of thing. Now, I know that is kind of a contradiction in sort of terms to an extent, but the feeling of this movie was it was going along at the regular pace of a movie that I expected. Then we just took a very bizarre turn. There is a incident that happens that turns out to be a lot more graphic than I was really expecting. I mean, it's not horribly graphic, but for the time, it definitely was a shocking thing to be witnessing as a major movie release to show this particular scene, to indulge on it, but it just shocked me. And then as the movie continues on, it turns down this not very normal Hollywood storyline. Now, of course, it's not a Hollywood depiction of this thing, but it seems more grounds root and very visceral, and there is a lot to this movie that I wasn't expecting to see. There's a lot more actual physical graphic violence between characters, where we have some lightheartedness at the beginning that turns into this tragic, almost like devastating ending to this movie. And again, something that I was definitely not expecting to picture from this particular movie, making it a fascinating watch. And the time does not feel like a 3-hour movie, because as we progress through this movie, you just get drawn in by the drama and the happenstance of not only the crew themselves, but the atmosphere around them, that they find themselves practically trapped in this conflict going on between these huge forces that they're just trying to basically kind of keep their heads literally above water to try and live through this sequence, which unfortunately turns into a very dark ending for this story. Once he is mostly accustomed to how things are running on this particular ship, Jake Coleman starts to settle in as the new ship's mechanic for the engine, training a new, what they call a coolie, as a native helping out the team to run the ship. And the ship itself starts what they call a show the flag cruise, which actually begins on June 14th, 1926, which is about 32 minutes into this 3-hour and 16-minute movie. And when it came to the Academy Awards for that particular season, it ended up getting nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor for Steve McQueen, Best Supporting Actor for Mako, Best Color Set Decorator, Best Color Cinematography, Best Film Editor, Best Sound, and Best Original Score. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode and look off to the future, see what we're going to be watching for tomorrow, which is going to be the 15th of June, and that is going to be Barry Lyndon from 1975. So until next time, go see a movie.